Peace, everyone. How you doing? Welcome to Israel Doctrine's Google Hangout. I'm your host, Carl Albert, and you have now entered into our Hangout. And if you would, give me a second to get this information out. If you would like, share the information. It'll help me. It'll help me. So, looking at the title, I know y'all see all those acronyms. I'm gonna tell you what those acronyms are, and I'm gonna get down to it. We got a lot to talk about today. Hopefully interference don't happen with the live stream. Like I said, I'm working on getting another form of internet. So I ain't liking this going down and not being able to go on live when I want to. I have to step outside and stuff. Y'all listen to my crows as I talk about these dead folks that come to this YouTube cemetery where a lot of dead people dwell. So I didn't hit up a couple hangouts and stuff. Give me a sec. I want to go to Facebook. You know, we got things that's going on with notifications and stuff. People ain't getting it, so this is another way to notify them, even if they late and everything. They can catch up to it. But yes, this another Hassan Camel video also. Another Hassan Camel video also, which is one of the major players as he's showing more and more to get in the business to get the prison industrial complex feel, right? So the title is Black Identity Extremists, Sexual Identity Extremists, which is a title I came up with, and Black Sovereign Extremists. Groups are working hard to fill the prison industrial complex. We're going to start with what happened to that boy and Hassan Campbell, which I believe is the backbone to everything that we seeing with a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff. Now, as y'all know, some years back, as he was talking about Michael Jackson yesterday and dying of an overdose of everything, you know, putting allegations out there that he was a pedophile. He's seen his energy signals and everything, and they was similar to Bambadas and all of this conspiracy theory stuff that he putting out there. You know, so he called Michael Jackson a pedophile and a lot of things. Y'all can go watch his videos. People watch them anyway. So I don't care if people watch them or not. I'm going to talk about what I see in here to keep a record and keep, you know, things up to par like I do over here, as they say in the library. So let's just deal with the basic history of things. Hassan Campbell, a young man that claimed to be a victim of Africa Bambaataa since he was 13 years old, 12, 13 years old, until the time he was around 18. went to prison around the time of 18, so his sexual relationships with Bambaataa stopped. And Bambaataa took care of him while he was in jail, sent him commissary. When he got out of jail, took him shopping as if he was a female and everything, bought him some nice little gear and everything, put him back on his feet. They kept a relationship, sexual or not, I don't know, but they kept a relationship with each other to April the 11th, 2016. In between time, their relationship came to a dramatic turn in April the 1st, 2013, when Africa Bambaataa allegedly date raped a young man and was stabbed by the victim in which he raped. Now, this right here is a big cause for people to go to jail and everything else. He stated that Bam wanted him to take revenge and kill the young man that he raped, and took revenge by stabbing him. Now, 9 out of 10, as he talk about being a killer and taking lives and things and stuff, Black lives, Hispanic lives, that he lied. He may have done it. He may have done it. So now we got a sexual predator, Africa Bambaataa, from the allegations, and we have a potential murder from her son's statements of one of his victims. May not be the first time that he sent somebody to kill one of his victims or whatever. So all this right here is like some super Hollywood ass movie type shit anyway. But that's where we're gonna start it at. So now you have her son coming through, being introduced to the community by Star Chambers, the Star Chamber, Star, Troy Terrain of Star Chambers, Star in the Morning, Shot 9-7, you know what I'm saying, the Snitching Network. Just think about that, the Snitch Network. So he introduced her son April the 11th, 2016 to the community, YouTube community. He was already introduced to the conscious community dealing with Sonetta, Black News 102, House of Conscious, with the Kemet on Trial debate, with Polite and the Hebrew Israelites. Polite and other so-called comedic pseudo scholars, the Amin-Ra Squad, Shaka Upmost, so on and so forth. Now, these individuals are called the Black Identity Extremist community, because these individuals pretty much are the Black Identity Extremist community. They had to profile somebody, and I said they profiled this community for the years of bullshit conversation and stuff that they brought to the people. So now, if you say, nah, they ain't what they profile the Black identity, okay, well, let's move on. The conscious community, Sonetta, Black News 102, is where you see Moorish Americans, or Moorish Science Temple of America members debating and doing stuff, right? The Moors is one of the #1 groups on the Black Identity Extremist paperwork, because they want to be Black separatists, a good majority of them. This is where you find them saying they're sovereign citizens, sovereign paperwork, all of these type of things that deals with the Black sovereignty extremist movement, right? So you got the Black Identity Extremist movement, and you got the sovereign extremist movement, the Black sovereign extremist movement, right? Now, Bambaataa is some more. and he pushed sovereignty. Sovereignty, separatists, pretty much. We're not under American rules and regulations, right? We're our own nation within a nation, which you could say the Nation of Islam. You could say the Moorish Science Temple of America, the Moorish nation. You can even deal with the Black Hebrew Israelites who tried to make a Black Hebrew Israelite nation and deal with sovereignty and stuff too. So you got Black Hebrew Israelites, Moors, Black Moors. You got Comedics. You got the same Brother Polite Aboriginalist movement that Bambaataa also in, dealing with Ali Muhammad, this, that. So if you saying this community is not the Black identity extremist community, then you could say they the Black sovereign or separatist extremist movement, right? We just gonna keep it moving then. Different high-profile individuals like James Small and Professor Griff has been tied to Michael X. Johnson for the picture that came out that had Professor Griff on it and stuff, right? And him evading the law, don't want to be detained by them and give his story that he don't have shit to do with it and clear his name. He make his run up to New York City and everything. So now we can see a lot of individuals in this community has ties to shit that can easily fall up under these categories as Black identity extremists or Black sovereignty or separate extremists. And then as I came up with the sexual identity extremists, through seeing Hassan Camel and seeing that he has problem with his sexuality and different stuff and issues with that and being extreme, want to have knife fights, you know, beat people up, you know, have domestic violent problems. He'll smack women around and kick them in the butt and do different things to them. Then I'm like, shit, this dude is a sexual identity extremist. So that ties back into though to Black Lives Matter, the LGBT community, LBTQ, sometime P, pedophile community, things that he go against and stuff too, and different people that are homosexual and everything. He have violent conversation about these people too, which is a good call for sexual identity extremism, right? Being extreme because you're heterosexual, homosexual, lesbian, gay, transgender, queer, or whatever, a pedophile. You know what I'm saying? So now you got all this stuff going on, and it's taking place in the Black sector. It's taking place in the Black sector with Black individuals that's doing a lot of bull crap because they have no vision of where to point the people, not lead the people, not have people follow them, but point them in the direction that they need to take. Tell them that this is where you should want to be, or this is where you should want to go, and in the next 5-10 years, work to get there. Not come follow me and give me all your money, and then I'm gonna leave your ass midway once I get all the money. Right? Scamming them, robbing them, doing things of that nature, right? So people, y'all just gonna have to follow me. Not no Professor Griff joke line, this one. Nah, y'all gonna have to follow me through this. There's a lot of shit to talk about, and I didn't sit down and pin it out and put it all in order. So you just gotta follow, right? So you got all this activity. Don't tell me my shit fucking up. Check it. Yeah, trying to download some shit. I knew I shouldn't have just. But anyway, you got all this stuff taking place in the Black sector, and that's not even a half of it, people. It's not even a half of it. You got people like attorney Malik Zulu Shabazz, who debates polite about sovereign information and conversation, right? And from an attorney, from an esquire position, tell them that's bullshit, brother. You know what I'm saying? You shouldn't be trying to feed the people that. But yet and still, he fed the people that, and he sold the people bullshit paperwork years after that. All right, I got you. He sold the people bullshit paperwork years after that, having them chase sovereign dreams. Right? Malik Zulu Shabazz knows this. But yet, years later, Polite claims to have LA police officers abuse him and his so-called wife, and the attorney Malik Zulu Shabazz and the Black Lawyers for Justice takes the case. Why? Because they have a relationship and a history with each other, that they was up in, what is it, Cleveland, Ohio? Some Ohio, place in Ohio, right? In which they was protesting or marching or doing something together, flying Black Lives Matter banners and shit. It didn't have Black Lives Matter on it, but if you go and check things out, you will see that those flyers look just like the ones from Ferguson, Missouri, during the time that Black Lives Matter hit the national scene during the Michael Brown, after the Michael Brown killing. Right? Facebook, my brother. It's on its way. Right? So now we got people in bed with the Black Lives Matter thing. And if you look on those flyers, you'll see Cyrus Seti, you'll see Bruce Watkins, you'll see all the major players in the black sector. Right? Meaning that now they're fucking with Black Lives Matter. Simple as that. George Soros money. George Soros funding. I can't give it all to you in one day, people, but I'm going to put these fucking breadcrumbs on the table. Look like I'm going to have some help in a little bit. So you got all this shit going on, people. And they got y'all watching certain little beefs and certain little things and not paying attention to the overlay to the underlay. That they're trying to get people to feel that prison industrial complex, or feel the prison industrial complex, in which a lot of big time black individuals own stock in these prisons and shit too, just to show you that our people not immune to locking our ass up and getting money off of us, and also working to create the climate, the atmosphere to get our ass locked up. Some churches and some institutions could also be a part of these institutions, dealing with these institutions on the stock market, because they know funeral, what you want to call them, funeral parlors, hospitals, prisons, things like this make money. So if you got money and you want to invest money and keep money, then you want to invest it on the stock market and shit that's gonna pay, right? Open up accounts for shit, and the Black Identity Extremist account has been open, but they ain't really got bodies and stuff. This is where you see another shooting of a black male in Sacramento and everything, in which a lot of people is on the goddamn internet talking certain things and trying to create a climate that's not conducive to the well-being of our people. This is when we get back to Hassan Campbell. He made a video yesterday. Like I said, you could go watch the shit. I don't care. He made a video. Nobody respects a coward or a crybaby. And he's basically saying black people are cowards and crybabies because they won't take offensive action against the police. This is black identity extremist convo at its best. This is the type of shit where you create people like Michael X. Johnson and the brother, I said I was gonna remember his name from Louisiana and shit, right? But look, people, it's always a quiet before the storm. Before it's a big rain or this and that and thundering and lightning and shit, like you hear the birds chirping and different shit, the animals and shit, if you ever lived in environment like this with animals and shit, they'll let you know when shit going on. Like you see in the movies, and then people see the animals, all of them running their way, and they like, what the fuck? Why are these animals coming my way? It's because it's something back that other way that they're running from. And they can sense it and know about it, and they speaking to each other, and they can feel the calm before the storm. So if you just watch the climate, you got Tommy Sotomayor trying to ease off of YouTube. You got Polite over in Bangkok somewhere, running all overseas and stuff. You got Bambata, he out there in Brazil and different stuff. You know what I'm saying? People trying to eat while they on the run and shit. You know what I'm saying? You got all kind of shit going on. You got Hassan saying yesterday in his live stream, which we over here already know it, where it's like, they told me if I get off the internet, they gonna kill me. Like somebody got a gun to his head and telling them, if you don't stay on that internet and do what we say or keep yourself safe by being on the internet, then we're gonna take your life. So it's damn near like he's a hostage to the internet. He said it out his own mouth. I told you the criminal minds, they like to tell on each other. The mind like to tell on the flesh, and then the flesh like to tell what's on the mind. You know what goes on in the mind by their actions. You know what's going on in the flesh, that it comes from that which is playing on, that's going on in the mind. It's just simple as that. Not no rocket science shit. So people, I'm just here to give you warning again. Like I said, I'm a watchman. My job is to warn you, tell you that trouble is on the horizon, so my hands will not be dripping with your blood. Your blood won't be on my hands. It'll be on your hands, because once you warn, you have the ability now to do something about the situation before it comes. You have a chance to run or find shelter or do whatever you have to do. It's my job, people. My job ain't here to rile you up and tell you go do some shit to a police officer. You know what I'm saying? To call you a coward and say, how you gonna let them shoot us down in the streets and just cry and protest and shit. And call Trayvon Martin father a coward because the police shot his son down in the street. He got another son. You know what I'm saying? Not to mention that we all know he was a Mason and everything. You know what I'm saying? We ain't even gonna get into that conspiracy type shit, right? But it's not my job to call that man a coward. and said because you didn't go kill a cop or do something to somebody that shot your child down that you a coward and a punk and a crybaby and stuff. So what we're going to do is we just going to play a little bit of it, people.
The slave patrol, right?
This is Black Identity Extremist Conversation. But remember, people, when this brother came into the community, the Zulu Nation deemed him, how he used to say it, he didn't say COINTELPRO. He'll say, what'd he say? Something. How did he used to say that? It was in that Brooklyn interview. He wasn't saying COINTELPRO. He was like, damn, I forget the term he used. How he said it. Was he saying like TELPRO agent? Well, I forget how he said. I'm gonna look it up. Like I said, we ain't gonna get into the conspiracy shit on that. But his father's a Mason. Yes, he is. A lot of black people are in the Masonic lodges. More than you know.
Justice, no peace, no justice.
So now, you see he's starting this off with no justice, no peace. Now he just made a video the other day saying Facebook is basically, you know, to lock people up and get people in trouble and stuff. And if I had to, I could go back and show you when Michael X. Johnson was allegedly a shooter of them police officers, because we can't prove it. He never got his day in court. He was lynched by a robot with a bomb on it and killed and murdered instead of brought in, questioned and everything else, and had the right to defend himself, right? He didn't meet that, right? He didn't meet that face. He got blew up, right? So look at it. When Michael X. Johnson did those things, well, shit, I lost my thought on that. I heard Dollar come in too. But we just gonna play this. Peace, what up, bro? We just gonna play this and listen.
Salute.
Yeah, I know what it was. Hotep Negroes. That's why I came up with Hotep Ultra 2. Hotep Negroes went on there and said, look what we created. Hebrew Israelites would not go out in the street and shoot the police and do this and do that, trying to incite Hebrew Israelites to take similar-like action to prove that they really and willing to do dirt like that. So when you hear people calling to her son thing, which I believe is, you know, not prank callers, but, you know, situational callers, they already gonna call in and say stuff. They probably working for the gov and shit too, or the program that they working for, whatever is under. Well, it's like, look, man, what we gonna do for the people that's really out here willing to put in that work on them people and different stuff, and is the community gonna stand behind them? It's like, hold up, we're not quote unquote Europeans, white people, Caucasian, that when George Zimmerman shoot Trayvon Martin or some of these people shoot black people down in the street, that we gonna flood their bank account with $20 million, 10 million, $1 million. You know what I'm saying? This is an argument that's been going on her son page too, that, you know, when it comes to pedophilia and stuff, they gave him almost $500,000 or so. But when I come out and this and that, black people ain't gonna give you no money. White people this, they better than black people when it comes to this. So we just gonna listen, just to put some of this on record, so people won't be like, you just saying shit. No, listen for yourself.
If necessary. Now, with that being said, the topic of this live, right? Nobody respects a coward or a crybaby. I'm gonna break that down for you real simple, right? When you sit back and you analyze time after time, shooting after shooting, it's the same old shit. No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. You look like a crybaby, and you look like a coward.
So you see the premises starting off. When somebody shoots a black person, this and that, you look like a crybaby, you look like a coward. You're not taking offensive measures against those that then took offensive measures against you. That's the premises. Am I wrong? No, I'm not. You can say I am, but in my heart's a heart, and your heart's a heart. You know what I'm saying.
I'm just keeping it funky. I respect people for pulling together and trying to do something. Let me say that. I understand you tried the Martin Luther King way. I respect and I applaud you for trying something. But I'm going to break it down to you. Right? Why is my camera going in and out like that? Anyway, you in a relationship. He beating your ass every day. Right? Till one day, you go in the kitchen and you boil those grits. YouTube, I'm just trying to be comical. This is only for comedy. I'm being funny. You go in that kitchen and you boil them grits while he in a deep sleep. And you drop those hot grits on him. He might fight you just one more time just because you dropped them grits, or he might be scorned for life and realize that you ain't playing. Like, yeah, you can beat me. But when you done, you better not go to sleep. I guarantee you, he ain't going to put his hands on you again.
Now, you say YouTube, I'm just playing in this for comical, but that's a metaphor for black people going to get some grits and dropping it on the police. And he but not go to sleep again. That's what he said. Am I right or am I wrong? That's your opinion. I know what I'm saying. I know it's correct. I ain't worried about nobody else's opinion. We're going to just listen a little bit more, then we're going to get up off of here. So this man went from a child advocate, what he claimed, fighting for child molestation, to now exciting people on some extreme shit for us going to boil hot grits and pouring it on the person that then victimized us. They but not go to sleep again. And who have victimized us? The ones that shot us, and instead of going to boil the grits, all we say is no justice, no peace, justice or else, on some Farrakhan shit and stuff, right? This is the picture he painting.
I can guarantee you that. Growing up, I knew there was dudes that I couldn't beat, but they wouldn't dare fight me because they knew if they fought me, I was going to stick something hot in them. I didn't believe in losing. So if I lost, you still going to lose. So they stayed away from me. They avoided me. I was a sore loser. I'm not going to lose. If I lose, you're going to lose too. See how simple that is? When it comes to dealing with the slave patrol, right? Do you realize that they don't play with certain type of white people like that? Have any of y'all seen the video when those white people just recently, what was that, last year? When they stormed them city buildings with their guns, ran up in there. Not one shot went off. When those white boys went in the government buildings and shut the buildings down. Not one shot went off when the white boys armed up and stood on the front line telling the government, y'all gonna respect us, nothing happened.
So now, once again, white folks know how to take care of the child predator. White folks know how to do this. White folks running there with them guns and not one shot go off. They respect them white folks. They don't respect y'all. And you won't do what the white man do. You're not going to put a $250,000 or whatever in my bank account if I do it, blah, blah, blah. All this shit that he be talking. This guy is on here trying to incite people. And he's getting good numbers. He's getting good numbers. And remember, he said somebody got a gun to his head saying, if you get off that internet or when you get off that internet, then your life in danger. So you better stay on that internet and talk that shit. So that's enough of that. That's enough of that. That's just enough to show y'all that, yes, he's talking that BIE shit. Right? A calm before the storm, people. It's just a warning. You know, when it's a flash flood warning, what's in a hurricane warning, when it's a high wind warning, this and that, the forecaster get on and forecast the possibilities of these things happening. Well, we said it's a forecast channel, so we just forecasting this shit to you. You can take heed to the warning alert, or you can say, fuck it, I don't believe none of that stuff. I'ma still go listen and do all of that. But people, I'm gonna give you another scenario, then I'm gonna shut up and let Dollar step in. Another scenario. You see how everybody bigged up this Black Panther shit? It's the most grossing movie ever and shit. Main character, Killmonger. More than T'Challa. Black Panthers, what did Black Panthers do? They stormed the Capitol buildings with guns and shit and everything else and blah, 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 right? So now he just took you to some white boys doing it. He didn't even take you to when the Black Panthers did and it says in our history to be militant or whatever. No, no, no. He wanted to compare and contrast with Europeans like he normally do. Y'all black folks don't even add up to what white people do. That's part of his trickery over there, right? To get emotions up and stuff. So, Killmonger. Everybody praised this guy. They made this character to open up dialogue and to have people in the Killmonger mindset. How he shot his lover, his girl, like she won't even be in the way because I'm still going to get claw so I can take them to Wakanda and overthrow them to get guns and do this and do that and cause this so-called revolution. Well, you got to think everybody in the world has seen that movie. It's the most grossing movie, more ticket sales, all that shit. Box office smash, a blockbuster. What the fuck you think? I was telling y'all, that was a program. Everybody, as he say, like little youngsters that say when they shoot people and shit, they dick get hard. Before they shoot somebody, they wanted to shoot them so bad. Well, when Killmonger pulled that thing out of him and say he rather die like all the ones that died on the slave ship and stuff, his ancestors, oh, everybody loved that. Nah, nigga, they win when your soul die. You ain't hear Pac song? They win when your soul die. They done defeated you. But they know long as you live, maybe you'll have an opportunity to overthrow and overcome. But if you die, ain't no fight. Ain't nothing to be worried about. He's dead. What is a dead person gonna do? Unless they die a martyr and start other people to follow in their footsteps. When Killmonger died, his revolution died. Everybody said, well, he did. We fall into T'Challa. And nigga, you just a motherfucking ink spot in that historical timeline. You now you got a couple paragraphs instead of doing this and that. He started attacking Obama on that show. That nigga is working for them people. I believe, like they said in the beginning. But we'll get into that another day of this and that. Don't forget April the 1st, the 5th year anniversary of the stabbing of Bambaataa after raping the young man allegedly. And the 5th year anniversary since Bambaataa put a hit out on him, Hassan Camel being the first person to carry out the hit. Now, let's just say it like this. If he killed that boy, the government know it, this, that, and the other. This nigga could be working for the government, as they said in the beginning, because he has to pay for the body. As he said in that same broadcast, you can't snitch your way out of a body, right? But you can get your sentence lesson, right? Khalil Money even told him that when he said, say perhaps you killed the boy, let them know up front. You might have to go do 3-4 years in the pen, but when you get out, you erase, your record is gone, and you a whole new person. They erase Hassan Camel, and now they done birth. You got a rebirth. They done birth so and so. He look Hispanic. He could be Julio somebody. You know what I'm saying? But he's not giving you all the play. I'm listening to him and like, this nigga playing with their hearts and mind. Nah, nigga, if you went from 18, 19, 20, 21 in prison for killing somebody, but you say you're going to give up the Zulu Nation, and you caught a body and you should have got plenty of years, but you only did 3, 4, and you saying you catching multiple bodies? Nigga, what the fuck you doing walking the street? Unless you out here to get them prison cells filled. People, y'all better watch and listen to your corner. You better watch. Because, nigga, it's somebody out here trying to take your head off. And unless you listen to your corner and get the game playing right, you might get knocked out. But I'm going to shut the hell up. What up, bro?
What up, my brother? How you? You good?
Yeah, man. You know, it's another day living in the hood. Just another way around the way. Just another day around the way.
Yeah, man. I just thought I would jump in on this show once you through the BIE, SIE, and the
BSE.
BSE. You know, just to recap on the community, and I'm gonna throw a few boulders out there, and it's if it hits you, it hits you. I'm not going to name drop or nothing, but I'm going to throw some boulders. But before I do that, first things first, I always come on the show and I enlighten people who listen to Israel Doctrine, call Albert Israel Doctrine MCEO, the main Israel Doctrine page, or any platform associated with Israel Doctrine Entertainment, LLC, to go in the archives. So first and foremost, I'm going to drop a link in the chat. The link that I'm dropping in the chat for the people watching this show is in the archives, dated December 26, 2016, titled Dollar Skills, Brother Polite, Tell Them About the Ecclesiastical Principalities. And I'll just paraphrase this show so you guys can know what that was about. That show was a show me and Israel did on or about the time that the LAPD had allegedly assaulted Brother Polite and his companions, and Malik Zulu Shabazz joined that effort in regards to trying to rally a donation base with the people in order to build up a legal defense against the LAPD. And it kind of ties into what Israel Doctrine began to discuss here in light of the sovereignty and these different classes of citizenship. Really what we see going on here is classism. It's a class war, or a quiet or a silent class war going on in what we call a conscious community that ties in my opinion, to the Black Identity Extremist Program, and who is the prey and who's the predator. And that's in regards to certain political statuses or classes or citizenship in regards to nationality, i.e. You hear a big topic is the Moors, et cetera, et cetera. Now, the boulders that I'm going to throw is, in light of what's currently going on in the conscious community, everybody's heard a million trillion times Polite has scammed in the community. And this has been a big topic as of last night. Everybody, I think, kind of caught some wind that Sarnetta has admitted Polite has scammed with his wife and all of these different incidences associated with the last couple of years in this community. Let me say this first before I throw the boulders. Israel Doctrine, and I'm gonna be fair and give credit where it's due, as well as what everybody knows is in the black media, are some of the first platforms to ever touch the opposition to certain paradigms that come out of the House of Consciousness on a viral level. And I'll give Israel Doctrine credit, though he may not have been the first to discuss scams, he was definitely speaking against false paradigms well before the scamming era. And of course, the archives is going to show that. When you go back, there's videos from 2015, 2016, as well as previous Blog Talk Radio, Israel Doctrine's The Huddle, where he set out on a mission to be a community watchman, warn the community of different false paradigms that pretty much culminated into where we're at now, where he was, if you ask me to give my opinion, warning the community at large of these different programs and functions that's going to lead to either bloodshed, people going to jail, et cetera, et cetera. So now getting that out of the way, I'm going to throw the boulders. It's kind of like Boys in the Hood. Either you don't know, you won't show, or you just don't care what's going on in the hood. And I say that to say that when I look at the current sector of this YouTube conscious community, I see people skipping a lot of things while these narratives is going on. Now, either they're afraid, they're ignorant, or they're working with them people when they don't. And when I say that, I say, how does people not see a specific profile that can be put on the issues with Hassan Campbell, Africa Bambaataa, etc., and what we currently just witnessed with Brother Polite? And when I say that, Israel kind of touched on it a little earlier, but you see plainly that just prior to the whole public outing of Brother Polite, he popped up allegedly in Bangkok, Thailand, in a remote location. Sound familiar? Sounds like Hassan Campbell when he screams that Africa Bambaataa is still free and he's in Brazil. So what we see now is classism, like I said. We see different classes of citizenship, either through sovereignty or forms of sovereignty paperwork, the WITSEC program, which shows were done on that topic with Khalil Amani. But definitely there is a different class of citizenship at odds here in this YouTube world and abroad. And what you see going on is you see criminal acts being minimized or not even prosecuted at all based on certain classes of citizenship and locations of business operations. So if you go back in some of the archives with Israel Doctrine as well, and you type the term Taz, Israel Doctrine did shows on what's known as temporary autonomous zones. These are specific zones globally where certain acts that would be deemed criminal, for instance, in the United States, like sleeping with someone under the age of 17 in certain states. In Brazil, the statute is 14. Or if you're in Germany, the legal age for drinking is, if I'm not mistaken, 15 or 16. So based on different jurisdictions, certain things that may be criminal by statute in one location is autonomous in another. And you see also the manipulation of the media, which if you go back to a show me, Israel Doctrine, and Richard Taylor recently did in regards to the laws passed about putting out fake news, you see an overt attempt to make certain things public in order to minimize the criminal act based on statutes at large. And I'm going to give you an example. As we see, back to Bambaataa, he hasn't been prosecuted for any of the allegations made by any of his alleged victims. And the number one reason that has been given to the community is because based on New York statutes at large, the statute of limitation is up for those acts because a certain amount of time has lapsed before people came forth with any criminal charges against them. Same principality is being manipulated when it comes to fraud, racketeering of certain monies associated with real estate, sovereignty paperwork, etc. They're making these things public But when nobody has the political capital or class in order to bring the proper lawsuit, the clock is ticking. So once it's made public, they're manipulating the differences between the public and the private to make things public. And then when no prosecution is brought, after a certain amount of time, you'll be sitting looking at the same issue with, let's say, like a Brother Polite, as you see with Bambaataa. Oh, he's done all of these terrible things, but he can't be prosecuted because the statute of limitation is up. But how is the statute being brought up to the public? Is what you see. And that's why I threw the boulders, not to hit any specific YouTuber, but either you're afraid, you don't know, or you working together, because everybody likes to jump on the topic that's safe. Brother Polite is the safe topic. That boy, and I'm not throwing this at everybody because there is a few platforms that have linked interviews to Israel Doctrine, called Albert, as well as spoke about these issues with Bambaataa, but for a very short time, and nobody really wants to stay on that topic, and nobody's tying the two topics together. Nobody's saying that institutionally, all of these different figures and characters and these formulas that have been used within the Black community to either bring physical injury by way of things like molestation, to monetary injury by way of things like economic scams and schemes, etc., and using class warfare, i.e., and I'm going to say it, masonry, because if you go back in some of the shows, guys like Brother Polite are admitted Prince Hall Freemasons, so this is not a conspiracy. More so, I like to be proper with my terms. This is collusion, because when you throw the conspiracy term out there, it falls in a certain category. So it's a collusion going on to manipulate different events in the so-called conscious community. One, like Israel Doctrine said, to rile up the masses who don't have the proper class to commit certain acts, to do violent acts with the police and things of that nature, as well as using institutions to systematically rob disenfranchised people and using classism to avoid prosecution by either setting up the business structure in a foreign jurisdiction at which it can't be prosecuted by a U.S. citizen without a proper legal representation, and or using their political status to avoid prosecution due to the fact that most people don't know how to utilize the legal system and or get proper representation, because 9 out of 10 times the people you go to for representation is in bed with these same people and have other private interests not to assist you properly in the case. Now, this is not to really throw stones. This is all public information, right? Everybody kind of knows this. But at the end of the day, when you look at the bigger picture, one, nobody's tying the two similarities to what happened to that boy, and the fact that Bambaataa's in Brazil, and the fact that Polite just dropped a video and made it public that he's in Bangkok, Thailand, allegedly, while all of this is being outed at the same time. It fits an exact blueprint. Now, maybe the criminal acts may be slightly different, but the overall blueprint is the same. And we see institutions, be it the Zulu Nation or New Covenant, et cetera, ecclesiastical principalities and certain corporate structures being used in autonomous zones in order to manipulate the Black community based on their lack of class in regards to commercial law.
I also bringing this stuff into the public by people with AP badges or ties to, you know, journalistic publications and stuff. They're making it known in the public, and then when the public don't act on it because you have been told by somebody that these things are happening, and you didn't act on it over a time frame, just like when you want to buy a house or put something on sale or do this, what they tell you, they say, go to the newspaper and put it in the newspaper. If the people don't buy the newspaper and look at it and read it, they could say, well, we was uninformed. And they said, nah, we published this in this newspaper back in such and such. Well, I don't buy newspapers and read it. It don't matter. We published it. We gave you time to be informed, and you was misinformed. Lack of knowledge, as the Bible says, is why we suffer.
Exactly. And that's my point. It's the exact same. everybody's going to be able to relate to this current narrative. The current narrative has been in the conscious community. If after all these years, the videos about Polite being a scammer came out and you gave him $50,000 or you gave him money, you a fool. That's public notice. They're giving you notice by letting you know in the public, like I said, and either these other YouTubers are afraid, don't know, or working with them and being used as a canvas in order to make this stuff public, but without the political or class capital to bring any real legal issue to the matter in order to help assist and letting the statutes at large pass so no criminal activity. And at the same time, people are shuffling around and switching up their stories so that they can separate themselves from certain aspects of those institutions because of the fact that everybody's hand was in the proverbial cookie jar at one point or another. And if things go bad, everybody's going down, like which was said with the Nino Brown narrative. So again, let me recap real quick where we at. I'm going to drop the link one more time so we up to speed. 2016, me and Israel Doctrine did a show asking Brother Polite to tell the people about the ecclesiastical principalities in light of the LAPD alleged brutality against him and his companions at the time, and how that tied into trying to create political trade blocks and get people to donate to movements, i.e. institutionalized fights or pushes against certain institutions that could be detrimental in association with you using your banking cards and your credit cards and your social security numbers and signing up for these different type of programs and institutions, not necessarily understanding the legalities associated with whatever marketing firms or companies or agencies or private contracts exist with these institutions in order to push agendas like the Black identity extremists on actually, which is on non-violent blacks. See, the threat is not the militant black, because 9 out of 10 times a militant black is controlled by the negative forces within the system. It's the non-violent but intelligent black that can articulate these things actually in the ways that I am and like Israel Doctrine does, that is a threat to these people. So they're trying to create chaos so they could take out the actual people who are nonviolent, i.e., I didn't watch the Black Panther movie, but I got enough to know that they put the issue of the Malcolm X paradigm up against the Martin Luther King paradigm, which is liberation by any means necessary or by peaceful acts. So now they're trying to create a scenario where they say to people, oh, the march hasn't worked in over 60 years. It's time to take up arms and go to the police station. But I implore you, 9 out of 10 people that's stupid enough to make a statement like that in a public and not in a private meeting is not going to jail. It's going to be the people who go out and get incited by those type of hate speeches and paradigms that's going to jail, while those same people laugh in the back all the way to the bank because they have a certain class, i.e. 5K1, WITSEC, or some form of sovereignty bus from the United States, which gives them an access to autonomy zones when it comes to certain statutes at large associated with these type of acts. Because in general, if you make hate speech, you go into jail. But if they make hate speech working for a program that's designed to get people to be incited by that speech, they have a political or class pass to do that while they incite you and get you arrested. And they also have campaigns to slander people and create false narratives, kind of like what you see with Israel Doctrine and the whole sharing of internet child porn. They'll do anything to take you out in regards to slander, using the state, local police, and any affiliates that they have in order to get you jammed up with them people just because you feel that this is wrong to do to people and you're being boisterous and vocal about it.
So to make a point, as he was saying, Michael Jackson paid $20 million or whatever, 200 million, I don't forget the number, but he said Michael Jackson paid that to get out of jail. Well, what happened when they took Michael Jackson to the precinct? They took pictures of his private parts. They did things with him in custody that they could not do if they didn't have him in custody. So once the police get you in custody, you in their arms now. They could do what it is they choose to do, i.e. Sandra Bland coming up dead. But if you
let me go deeper, or let me say this, or sexual identity extremists, letting other homosexual inmates come in your cell and rape you. No doubt about that.
My motto always been, I'm cool with the police. I don't want to see them if somebody messing with me, because I don't want nobody messing with me. I don't want to see them if I'm messing with somebody. I don't need to be messing with somebody. And I don't need them just bumping into me saying, how you doing today, sir? You need some help? Where you going? This and that. Hey, look, if I ain't got to deal with the police, it's cool with me. You see what I'm saying? A life without police, interaction with police is a great thing. That means nothing bad is going on in my life and no mistakes is happening while I'm misidentified as somebody else because we all look alike. So
yeah, and I want to stay right to the point because this is for me. I'm speaking for myself, and my views don't necessarily reflect those of Israel Doctrine or Carl Albert. But I'm doing this because this is my litmus test. I'm throwing a boulder. I want to see what other YouTubers in this sector is either working with them people or working for the people. Meaning that you see it. I'm telling you verbatim, and though this is a smaller platform, word spreads fast. I'm telling you verbatim. If you've been watching the What Happened to That Boy movement, it is identical to the Bambaataa narrative. Bambaataa was alleged to be a pedophile, still hasn't been brought to justice based on statutes at large that have been passed, and currently being told to the public he's in an autonomous zone where it's legal to sleep with people in those age brackets, and he's still terrorizing other people's children in other locations. Same thing with Polite. He terrorized the community through his form of sovereignty, paperwork, real estate, etc., allegedly, and now he's in Bangkok, Thailand. Sound familiar? Who's gonna deal with this? Who's going to have the vicar to deal with it? You either scared, you ignorant, or you working with them. If you scared, that's okay. But if you ignorant, you shouldn't be no more. And if you're working with them, there you have it. Because a lot of YouTubers is spinning these narratives, but they not tying it together. And it seems like, to me, a systematic design, I have to say this real quick. It's not a coincidence that 4/1, April 1st, the anniversary of the 5-year stabbing of Bambaataa, this all comes out right before that weekend at the same time. How many similarities you want me to give you to see that they want to change the narrative away from what we're saying? Because the bigger issue, if you put it on a scale, would be child pedophilia. That's no disrespect to anybody that lost any of their money, how it affected their families in retrospect, but touching the babies and using that as a narrative has to be the supersedest claim that trumps anything that you're telling me about with scams, because we already knew about that. But this boy movement is more relatively new in the community. Let's see who's real. All that other stuff you telling me is crazy.
And the possible murder of the young man. Don't forget, this man said Bambaataa wanted me to take revenge and kill this young man. And the young man and his brother has disappeared for 5 years. We haven't heard anything from him. Now, look, you want to tie it all together? I told Polite, get your hands out of the church pocket. I said this because he said in the video, if anybody said, get your hand out of my pocket, I'm pushing your wig back, meaning I'm going to shoot you in the head and your head going to go back, right? So I said this. After saying this, a couple of days later, Michael Edwards make a video and says that I'm going to get my head blown back, my wig pushed back, my head blown off, because I keep asking and dealing with what happened to that boy and everything. And then when that happens, he going to get on the internet and say, I told you so, saying they're going to make an example out of me, kill me, to let other people know not to be on here fucking with these type of narratives that could get their thing jammed up. So there you have it. So when I tell Star Chambers that Michael Edwards is basically putting you in a predicament because he didn't join forces with Hassan Campbell, Sadnetta, he already had ties with Sadnetta, and now it's leading back to you because he's taking up for you and attacking me, then You know, the threat to my life is real. Her son didn't threaten Mines, Dollars, DS1, Tawana Allen, Sadnetta, and everybody else. Now, when you look at this, it basically boiled down to Star has been told that our lives have been threatened, and he done got on his YouTube channel and say, who cares? Kill each other so we can move on. He basically aware and been given notice to. Don't forget emails when you're using your emails to sign up to websites to vote and do different stuff. You also putting yourself on that list and saying you're amalgamated with these people and the things they do too, because your email could be used as any type of form of number count and everything else. But anyway, so all this go back to death threats and everything else on the internet too. Star has been warned of this through email and everything else. He ignored it. He even cheered it on and everything else. So it's no coincidence when you have people like Tommy Sotomayor. Our last conversation was you're empowering Hassan Camel, because I wanted to bring the what happened to that boy conversation to his platform, and he refused me access to his platform to deal with that subject matter. Now, if you know Tommy and Star as friends, Star used to be an admin in his stuff, and him and Star went back and forth plenty of times on that platform and everything. They are the type that do the type of shock jockeying or shock YouTuber that people are used to now, where they do stuff like I raped your daughter, or I piss on your daughter like I'm R. Kelly, talk about dead people and stuff. When her son say, Tommy, take stuff like what's the sister that was in the freezer? I can't even think now.
Kanika Jenkins.
Take Kanika Jenkins and stuff, and then make fun of her death and make fun of her mother and talk about how they was ratchet and stuff during this time of grief. He also did that thing with the sister that ended up being murdered, meeting somebody over Facebook in St. Louis and different stuff. So it's been a lot of cases like that. Well, Star did the same thing with Aaliyah. He had plane crashes and all kind of noise the day this sister died, making fun of her death and stuff. And he was reprimanded a little bit, but the controversy catapulted him to who he is today. You know what I'm saying? Because of these controversies and everything, and then claiming to be the hater, and I'm just saying things that y'all would say too, but you're afraid to say it catapulted him. So he's no different than Tommy. But how is his son calling himself having a bond and a tie with him, and now trying to be a baby star by saying he'll do things hypothetically or whatever to care of Gil's children, and imagine him in bed with your 13-year-old and things like that? Come on, people. It's something sinister going on. And as Dollar said, you don't either know, or you afraid, or you just in bed with these people. It ain't no way all this stuff going on, but people want to talk this bullshit and try to take attention away from the real things that's going on in the community. I just can't fucking understand it. It ain't driving me crazy, but it's under my skin.
Yeah, well, let me make my disclaimer too, because I'm gonna say this. I don't strive to turning my channel on live. And I'll be honest, in the past, in the private, my brother Carl has said, yo, man, you should turn your channel on. That never was my thing. I hosted radio for 5 years, people. I'm gonna keep this real. I could turn my channel on literally and go pull all my interviews with known artists. I'm not gonna name drop. And I can run all original content on my channel and just do that if I was in YouTube to make money or anything. This is simply me seeing my brother Carl's platform some years back, us clicking, and I support it. Now, yes, I'm his chat moderator. So people might look at me and say, oh, he's divisive. He's trying. No, listen, man, I'm just for righteousness at the end of the day. I don't advocate making death threats on the internet. I ain't threatening nobody on the internet. You're not going to find my channel live with nobody's names in the title. The people I do discuss on Israel Doctrine's channel, I'm honest about that. If you want to get at me, there's ways you can do that. but I'm very selective because of the things that I see that goes on in this YouTube. And Israel will tell you that. Everybody don't got my telephone number, and I'm not giving everybody my telephone number because there's a lot of entrapment going on out here. I'm not trying to pose as your friend and then get you arrested. My thing is just simple. If you out here doing wickedness and you telling lies and falsehoods and it's adversely affecting people, I don't care if their class is black or whatever, that's wrong. And that's across the board. If you're doing it to white people, if you're doing it to Asian people, that's wrong. So this mess that has been culminating for some years now, it seems to be coming to a head now, really with that boy, but also even with the scamming stuff. Now, again, I'm not charging nobody for nothing they didn't do. So if the allegations is false and dudes have their day in court and they come out and they say that they've been exonerated, then so be it. But right now, the way it's looking is that dudes is using their political class and status to take advantage of the public by putting out false news. And this is why we did the show on false news. The laws were dropped at the top of this year, along with the black identity extremists, to clean up all false news and charge any major social media platform over $50 million for any fake news story that's not ripped down from off of the site within 24 hours. And you see the sweeping policy on YouTube because major platforms have been either flagged or people wake up and their whole channel is gone across various sectors, mainly in the battle rap blog sector. If you like to watch battle raps, you go look into the battle rap blog sector, you'll see every major battle rap blog, with the exception of one or two, has either been flagged or taken down since the top of the 2018. Everybody's heard Tommy's channels are either flagged, taken down, or put private because he's being flagged. So it's one of the three, because some people are making their pages private, lying to the public and saying it's been flagged, and they plan to come back later with some excuse that they beat it in appeal. But they took it private because they don't want to get flagged because people is flagging them too crazy. So all the angles and dynamics you should be aware of, and there's no reason why people keep on ignoring Carl. I don't care if you don't like Carl. I don't care if you had some issues with him in the past. It's bigger than Carl. It's bigger than Dollar Skills. It's bigger than Israel Doctrine, because at the end of the day, I could fold back and not say nothing else after this show. I guarantee you 9 out of 10 times, it's going to be one of the YouTubers on the other end of this exchange that needs to be worried, because you be up in other people's chats and watching these things and sending donations to these people. I don't be in dudes' chats like that. It's a select few YouTubers who can ever say they ever even seen me in their chat. So I don't run around and rub shoulders with a whole lot of people. If you cool, you cool. And love is love. But all this stuff is crazy. And like I said, the entrapment is real. So be careful who you messing with, because dudes will send you porno and stuff and then have the cops at your door. That's insanity to me, that the community even let that happen.
Or put it on your YouTube channel while y'all having the debate.
Yeah, and it's insanity to me that dudes, because they might not like a specific YouTuber, will skip over that part of the story. But because, let's say, like a Young Pharaoh and SETI is hot, like you said, when the porno was shared on Young Pharaoh and SETI's thing, every YouTube channel in the sector chimed in for views. But when Israel Doctrine had that porn sent to the house, nobody said nothing while he was being slandered. And anybody that watched enough know good and well what they did with that. So either, like I said, you don't know because you ignorant, you scared, or you working with them because you don't want to see Israel Doctrine shine, because you know it's the cleanup crew when that happens. Certain things ain't going right. You don't know how to have fun. We ain't, I'm going to say this for me, I'm not a square. You could be righteous and have fun. There's a lot of things, if you ask me, dudes could have did a lot of what they did a whole nother way, still got what they had, and didn't have all the attached BS with it. Because most people are personality worshipers, and a lot of these guys have great personalities. Generally, they didn't even have to scam. People would have just gave it to them because they like who they are. It's stupidity. And you can get mad. I'm just going to call it how it is. It's stupidity. Because if you look in retrospect, a lot of the stuff that was done was avoidable, unless they're being steered by powers that be to do these type of acts, because they're locked in too. So if you ask me, everybody's a slave. Because if you can't break free from scamming because you got a agenda politically because you're a part of a program, you ain't no different than the person you trying to sell sovereignty paper to. You a slave.
Working to get other slaves caught. You's a house slave and they feel slaves. So due to the fact that you're in the house, you feel like you're a lot better than the ones in the field because you get to wear master old clothes. You get to wear his old shoes. You get to even get his used pipe that he used to smoke in. You get to live up in the attic. You get to hear master and his wife get it on at night. I know how they sound when they do. Hey, come on, man. But I just want to play some audio for y'all, and y'all listen to this because this dude took this down, right?
I suppose so. I'm not an Asiatic black man, but look over it.
I thank you for your time, and I have been watching you for quite some time. Father of trolling that I am. I'm not the king, but I'm the father of trolling, and I've been enjoying what you've been putting down. I saw you up on 125th Street putting the white Jesus in front of people, and they would step over it. Huh? Huh?
That's a fact.
I'm on my JOB, sir, and I do appreciate your time. I want to give you the highest respect. Nothing sideways, nothing crazy. I watched you and Sarnetta get into it. If I can just cut right to the chase, a man such as yourself, who's putting in the work, who many people are looking to right now, you're now saying, if I'm quoting you right, all lives matter. Yes.
Well, I would tell you this.
Please.
I am. I'm gonna give it to you.
Yes, sir.
But I would like to expound on my answer.
Yes, sir. Come on.
Okay, great. I don't want the filibuster because I know a lot of people out there are going to say. Now I'll tell you this.
Yes, sir.
In a general sense, I say Black Lives Matter, and I say Black Lives Matter to preference far above and amongst all other lives, considering America and world over as it relates to our people.
Okay.
But I mean it as a general statement because I'm not obliged to Black Lives Matters movement because there are some idiosyncrasies there that I'm not too fond of.
Okay.
So in a general statement, I say Black Lives Matter.
So now let's just stop. As been stated, all you got to do is go to Israel Doctrine Reloaded and stuff. I think that's the channel I was using because the other ones was flat. But you can see how we showed Malik Zulu Shabazz, Cornel West, who kicked off the 2017 year over there with Sarnetta in Washington, D.C., doing their so-called debate and everything, right? And how Cornel West is Black Lives Matter and how that whole thing was pretty much funded and pushed by Black Lives Matter, but Polite saying he don't deal with that. He also attacked the head of Black Lives Matter, the African-American sister that's a part of the L and the LGBTQ, sometime P, and George Soros and stuff. So at one point, he was pretty much under their banner when that thing they did in Cleveland was all up under that banner. They kind of tried to remove the banner. But if you look at it from the foundation, you know that they had a big hand in what took place there. Now, Polite was shooting a superstardom and stuff, the Breakfast Club, Ron Artest, all of that. Well, where's Ron Artest now? Is he still a part of New Covenant? A lot of stuff to talk about, but let's listen on. Because there's some keys in here, but this was taken now.
Now, outside the general statement, politically, I also am impelled to say all lives matter. Though I still say Black lives the preference, all lives do matter.
Okay.
Black lives the preference, but politically, I must say all lives.
Okay. That's where I stand. I stand on all lives matter. But I know when people create the All Lives Matter movement, it is so it can be combative against Black Lives Matter. And I'm not in conformity with the combative disposition of the All Lives Matter. I am not part of the All Lives Matter movement, which the Donald Trump people aspiring to use to circumvent the necessity of a Black Lives Matter movement, because I understand why it will return.
Okay, why do we need the Black Lives movement? Why do we need that though? Why did that term come about? Well, my bad. Darren Seals died because he was fighting Black Lives Matter and because he went to a Trump rally. If you don't know who Darren Seals is, that's a brother that was a part of the movement down there in St. Louis after Mike Brown was murdered. And he was telling people, go ahead.
No, go ahead, bro. I didn't want to cut you. Go ahead. Then I'll say something.
He was telling people, Irritated Jenny had a hand in that. We know Irritated Jenny had a hand in the press conference with this damn boy, whatever his name, Campbell, Tariq Nasheed. They was arguing because he was telling them don't matter. Then he ended up shot to death, car burnt, this and that. We're not even talking about the Dr. Sebi stuff because that's conspiracy, but Dr. Sebi and the whole Tommy Sotomayor, and they kept the money by having a wake for him and stuff, memorial. We're not even getting into that. It's so much stuff that happened over the years that people just didn't glance over. But that's where Black Lives Matter come in. They came in, usurped that movement, got money, did this and that, everything else, and took the power away from the local government patrons or citizens of Ferguson. They took that, made that whole movement global off of the death of that young man, Michael Brown, and got money and did everything and played politics off of that. You see what I'm saying? People need to look into that even more. That's why I say even when dealing with the sexual identity extremist stuff, they took the Black Lives Matter movement and started making it extreme because most of the Black Lives Matter people from Canada to America was LGBTQ, sometime P community people, but they was black.
Now let me say something real quick because I'm gonna tie this nice for you. One, you touched on this in the lecture you did with Mikael Ben Israel, the stalking and profiling of the Israelite male. Now, my opinion is the Mason is now being profiled. They don't, and this is breadcrumbs for them. How do you not see that program-wise you're being used on the internet where now there is a template profile for you guys? And when I say that, I'm going to use Polite and Hassan Campbell as an example again. Sound familiar? Oh, I shot somebody. I caught a body. And I either beat it or I got the sentence reduced. It's the same MO. And then when you look at WITSEC, right? Now, see, I'm going to give you a little breadcrumbs because we were going to do a show on this, and I looked into some things that is prevalent to my topic right here because, see, what people don't know about like WITSEC is that WITSEC is designed to protect people who are in certain institutions or organizations that have evidence that can bring down certain bigger figures so they get certain immunities. But what the WITSEC program doesn't police is when those people are criminals and then they get that and they still commit crimes. There's really no policing on that because of, yet again, a certain autonomy. So when you see ex-cons or ex-felons who really are street cats playing these roles, but they haven't got the proper institutional reformation, they then get the badge and they're committing criminal acts with the badge now. So, and then there's no policing on it. Because when you study into certain programs like WITSEC, the state police don't have jurisdiction because the WITSEC person is in the hands of the U.S. Federal Marshal's office. So now you got these guys running around committing crimes because they're really ex-criminals that were used by the government in order to bring down bigger institutions or with the intent to bring down bigger institutions, but no policing for their criminal acts that they were committing that led to them being in the program.
Which is similar to when the U.S. go overseas and train people like Osama bin Laden and different people, and then they leave these people with this training and power, then they become dictators and different stuff. Then years later, they got to come back and take out this person that they trained or gave this power not knowing that they was gonna misuse the power that they gave them. So when you erase somebody, as he's saying, when you erase somebody's history, all these felons and all this sexual assault and different stuff that they done did, it is off the books now. And so when they go into a town and the people looking at them and stuff, they look like just your average citizen. But really, they used to be the monster. And they know all the same criminal stuff. They got all the same devious things. And what are you going to do now? You don't see the history. This is where it came up about Bambaataa. People don't see Bambaataa history. And even the people that's over there in Brazil and stuff, they're not really getting the U.S. YouTubers information that, hey, Bambaataa is this and Bambaataa is that. Because even her son, who is supposed to be a #1 advocate or one telling people about this, is not really telling the people. And so therefore he's going anonymously into these different places, being a danger to children because no one want to bring justice to the table. I don't know what to say.
Yeah, well, what I'm saying is, in all actuality, those tellings of these things are being made public to change the statute of limitation. It's almost like you're reporting terrorism, but when nobody has, like I said, the class or the political body of politics to move the type of claim on an international level that would deal with these type of issues, then the time runs out on the statute, and then now that person is free to roam. And or they stay in the autonomous zone, and then you got to go through all different kind of issues with embassies, and it takes time, and there's red tape, and then people move from one location to the next. So really, I'm going to have to say, with the slang, it's a lot of dudes on the run eating. Yeah, you getting money, but you want to run. You bouncing from zone to zone, because if you sit still for too long, they're going to swarm on you and get you. Because I'm going to say this. There's always a political interest based on capitalism to capitalize. So long as it makes more money to keep certain people in position to do what they're doing, it's cool. But when it looks like it could make more money to wrap you up based on capitalism, somebody's gonna wrap you up. See, that's why really a lot of the times people should be measured by the deeds they do when there is no monetary value behind it, because it's priceless. See, when you do a thing and you don't put a physical monetary value to it, it becomes priceless. When you put a price to something, you limit yourself. Even if you charge $1 billion for a service, you limited yourself to $1 billion. But if you don't put no monetary value behind a thing that you do and it's righteous, it's priceless.
Yeah, so I know you should beating the dead horse. This horse then got the shit beat out of it, so we should just ease on down the road. People, I appreciate y'all checking us out, listening and stuff. I appreciate you coming in, adding on. You communicate stuff differently than me, and I forget sometimes exactly what I want to put out and don't put out. So, you know, it's good when other people, you know, get a chance to bling off of it, and, you know, I'm like, well, you know, that's good to let them thoughts out, but I probably would have won, you know, so it's all good. But hey, y'all got some shit to think about. That's all I'm saying. I'm putting something on your head. There's always a calm before the storm. And if y'all don't see her son now over there pushing that extremism, whether if it's sexual extremism, black extremism, or even that he come out of the Moorish community, because he was Bambaataa. He was right there with Bam. He's basically a Moor. That's why he be saying Islam and all of that stuff and Allah and everything else. He come out of that Moorish paradigm because the Zulu nation is more Moorish, Kemetic, and all of that. You know, he comes under that whole Dr. York, this and that. Him and Polite is basically, you know, cousins and stuff, because Polite father is York and his father is Bambaataa. And, you know, Bambaataa is basically a son of York, if you want to look at it, and making him and Polite related by organizational ties. And New Covenant, if y'all don't know and you want to go do some research, New Covenant is an ecclesiastical principality. It's just like the Moorish Science Temple of America. It's just like the Zulu Nation and stuff. It is a religious organization. You don't believe me? Go look it up.
Well, I'm going to say this on the close. Like I said, I didn't single nobody out. Salute to all of the YouTubers that did have the heart to speak about certain aspects of these topics. But if the boulder hits you, it applies. I feel like a lot of YouTubers are trying to run either with a narrative through manipulation, control, opposition, trying to ignore similarities in the issue of doctrine has been bringing to this community, either because they don't like the platform, had certain issues, whatever. But there's no hate in my blood for nobody in our community at large. Do what you do, but people be vigilant and be aware of what's going on. Love is love. Salute to everybody that was in the chat, and we'll catch you on the next back channel. You know what I'm saying? That's how we'll do it.
And let's separate the real from the fake, as it's been called. You know, we all been called to do that. So let's separate the real from the fake. Everybody that got hate, I love you no less. Peace. And to everybody that's keeping the Passover when the sun go down, I might not be with you, but I'm in spirit with you. Absent
Happy
from the
Sabbath.
body.
Happy
Spirit.
Sabbath.
So I'm gonna be having my bread and wine, and we're gonna be eating together tonight. So peace. See y'all.